Hello and welcome again to another video. We have a lot to talk about in this one. If you haven't been here before, my name is Neil, and today we are going to be talking about the week we've just had and the game we are about to have on Sunday. Let's not waste any more time and let's get straight into it. So, first things first, we start off with an amazing 4-0 win against Bournemouth. It was tantalizing, it was exciting, it was good to watch. Do not get me wrong, granted, Bournemouth did have that sort of aggression within the first 10 minutes, but we nullified that very quickly and then began to stroll into the type of football that we knew we always played, especially last season. But there's a couple of issues that I wanted to kind of talk about, which is going to lead me to my next point for the Champions League loss against Lens, and exactly what that's going to mean for us going into Man City's game. So we were playing the normal 4-3-3 formation that we was used to seeing last season, and it was so fluid at times, especially after we got past the sort of aggression and the press from Bournemouth, especially in the first 5 minutes. They were really in our half, but we never looked out of control. We never looked like we was panicking or anything like that, and we always maintained composure. But at the same time, we have a chink in our armor, guys. I believe that chink in our armor is Kai Havertz. For most of the time, it seemed like we was playing with 10 men, you know. Yes, he does track back at times, but I'm talking about when we're going forward, it seems like he's always giving a slower pass or a more safer pass. Like, especially there's times where we've built up our play, going to the forward transition, and it will be zipping about and it'll come to him, and he's got so many other chances that if he just takes a risk, someone would be kind of playing it forward or playing it into space or playing it into more of these deadlier scenarios, but he keeps going for the safer option. And unfortunately, it seems that it's affecting our play. You can see it's affecting our play because it seems on one side where Odegaard is playing more aggressively. We're more aggressive. We're more just attacking. We're ready to pounce. And on Havertz's side, it's just a bit more slowed down. You know, one thing I do agree with, and I do really see his qualities, is the shadow runs. He's able to get into the box without being picked up. He's able to pick these deadly scenarios where he's able to score, but right now he's just not doing it. So the best option for me, this is my personal opinion, for him to just take a seat, see how it goes, because yes, granted, it is a complex system. You know, you're having to come in and kind of do multiple things at once within one game. But Rice has just come in and he slotted in. Yuri Timber, he slotted in. So again, there's not really no excuses for a 65 million player, you know, to not come in and kind of get it. But everyone is different, and plus he's very young. He's, you know, in terms of football age anyway, he's 23, 24. So he still has time to kind of learn that. But let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what happens. I personally think he just needs to sit on the benches, give a watchful eye and see how things go and kind of learn the system. Next, we are talking about our loss on Tuesday against Lens in the Champions League. It was something that we have been kind of experiencing from time to time now. It's been going on since the last season, the end of last season, and we're just not clinical enough. We're just not clinical enough. We are not giving ourselves the opportunity to just put matches away, put games away from the off, suck out the energy from the opponent by scoring 2-3 goals, you know, within 30 minutes. We've had the opportunity to do that. If we were just more clinical, we'll be able to suck the games out and then go into this control method where we're slowing things down and we can afford to, you know, kind of just control the match and game management. But I think that's what Arteta is trying to do. He's trying to get the ball rolling as soon as possible, kill off the game as soon as possible, and then control it and manage the game depending on how the opponents wants to go out and do things. That game should have been won against Lens, even a draw, but we had at least 3 opportunities to 4 opportunities that we could have put away. and we're not putting it away. Declan Rice said it, I'm about to post it up, and he said we're just not clinical with it. I saying we're just not clinical, but he said we missed a lot of big chances. Big chances have been missed, and in this level, in the Champions League, you will get punished. There has been talks of us going in for Ivan Toney, and yes, I would be happy with Ivan Toney, but with his transfer value of 60 million, is that the option that we're going to go for? Or are we going to go for maybe Victor Osimhen, who is probably the next best thing after Haaland? And from what we're hearing, it's probably like a 90 mil, 100 mil sort of transfer value. He seems like a player that is just clinical. All right, he knows where the goal is, and this is what we need. I'm not saying that that's not about Ivan Toney. I think probably Ivan Toney goes to a good team and he's the focal point. He'd probably get 18 goals. He knows what he's doing in Brentford. But I think, what are we trying to go for now? Leave your thoughts below and let me know which direction we should go. Now, we saw what happened on Tuesday. Our boy Saka got injured, and I'm hearing a lot of talk about what should happen. Arteta should have rested him and so on and so forth. So let's delve in a little bit deeper and see what is actually going on and if those arguments are actually true. So now what we're going to do, we're going to compare the minutes played by, from Saka to other elite players, because obviously that's what Saka is right now. He's got into that elite category right now, and we need to compare him with other players in that category. 2022 to 2023, last season, this was at 3,744 minutes played. That's how many minutes he played last season. And the season before that, he played 3,353 minutes. That was in 21-22. So you can see those numbers there in the last 2 years. I think the most time he played was 3,800. We're going to call it out roughly. Now, let's start with Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah in 22-23 last season, he clocked in at 4,301 minutes. That's way above. And if we go to the season before that, he was clocking in at 4,014 minutes. Right, significantly above. Again, an elite forward, if you want to call it striker, but we're going to call it forward, who's kind of playing in the same position in the same league for an elite team. Now we're going to go to Mbappe, and Mbappe, again, of that league, he was playing 3,564 minutes. That is last season, and the season before that was even more, 3,903 minutes. Now let's go into someone else like Bruno Fernandes, for example, who is an elite player, and he clocks in at 5,164 minutes last season, and the season before that was 3,861 minutes. So high numbers. Most teams are going to play their best players most games. It is what it is. Their best players are going to play. It's without a doubt. Henry done it, Ronaldo done it, and it comes down to the player looking after themselves and making sure that they are able to, withstand these amount of games. The argument of he's young and he needs to do this and do that, but Mbappe has been playing Champions League football from the age of 16, 17, and there's not many games he misses. Right, Neymar has been doing the same. There's not many games he misses. Messi, Ronaldo was doing the same. Haaland is doing the same. Bellingham is doing the same. There's not many games these guys miss because, yes, they're young, but they're of an elite level. So I don't really agree with the arguments that people are trying to say that you should have rested, should have done this. This is the Champions League, and we are trying to get the best results within the Champions League. We need to give ourselves a good chance for the second leg when it comes to the away games and the other games that we're going to play in the second leg. I was thinking we're going to do the 2-0 or whatever, come up with a good advantage and then probably take Saka off, probably at the 50th, 60th minute. That's what I'm thinking he would have done, and unfortunately it's happened. These things happen. The best players get injured, let's get over it and let's focus our attentions on Man City. So with Manchester City, I think they are still the better team. They've got a manager who's done it for a long time. Their core players, they've just won the treble. There's only 2 players that have just left, maybe 3, but they know exactly what to do. Yes, granted, they are missing Rodri, but I still think, especially if Saka is out, Martinelli's still out, and that was the way we used to kind of punish them. We used to punish them because they used to try and, control us and try and go forward and try to do that high line, that high pressing line. And with Saka and Martinelli kind of getting in behind them and giving their fullbacks problems, we were kind of punishing them. And it seems like we are not going to have that this weekend, unfortunately. So how do we come up against this? Personally, I will play Reiss Nelson on the right, and I will play either a Trossard, or I don't know if Martinelli's back. I don't know what the options are looking like right now, but I will play a Trossard on the left, and then play Gabriel Jesus up top. I don't like it when Gabriel Jesus plays on either flank when Nketiah's up top. I just think we miss a very important focal point at the top when Jesus is on either wing. It would have been good if we had a clinical striker. If we had a Ivan Toney that Gabriel Jesus can play off, I think Gabriel Jesus will score so many more goals. He can't score as many goals because that's the pressure that he has to kind of think of, but he has so many different assets to his game that he doesn't just have to score goals. But I think if you take away that pressure from him and you give it to someone else, an out-and-out striker like a Toney or an Osimhen, that is just going to get those goals, and then he will come in and be a part of that and be fishing around and kind of creating his own chances and creating chances for everyone else. But that's what Jesus does. I think that's where we can see the best of Jesus. I don't think he's a complete number 9. I think he's almost like a bit of both, like a half 10, half 9, even like an 11, like a wing. He's so good, but he's just not an all-out striker. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 win. My mind logically is going to go with a 2-1 win for Manchester City, but my heart is going to go for a 3-1 win for Arsenal. Still think we have the possibility of taking it to them, but it's going to be very difficult if we don't have a Saka, if we don't have a Martinelli, and I think the next best option is to play Reiss Nelson on the right. So on that note, I'm going to end things here, but I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. 1, should Havertz still be given the chance in the starting lineup? Or is it time for him to just take a back seat and just relax and kind of see what's going on? Number 2, do you think Saka should have been rested? Because even Rashford, he's got like 4,000 minutes in a single season. So do you think he should have been rested, or do you think it was right to play your best players? And lastly, what are your score predictions for the Manchester City game on Sunday? Leave your comments below and let us discuss this. I hope you have a great night, guys, and I will see you on Sunday for that match.